begin the webinar. Welcome to each one of you for this webinar on ESG leadership, essentials, strategy, reporting, and applied impact. So on this morning, we are actually going to dive in deep, which is extremely contemporary, which is mattering to each one of us in various ways, as well as it is also making us realize the need of the hour today. So let me welcome each one of you to this webinar on ESG leadership and essentials. So as we normally begin, we should look at what is our root, from where we belong. We belong to Regenesys group, who is determined to bring change in today's world. And this is by developing conscious leaders and conscious managers. And this can happen through a specific way of working, which is deeply rooted into integrated leadership and management model. So this is an individual who is holistically developed, that is physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually developed human being who is able to make a very deep impact with the team as well as with the institution. Through strategy, structure, systems, and culture, this developed individual delivers value to the external world and thereby making a permanent change. As we go ahead, we look at a very base of value delivery, and that is graduate attributes. So all the courses in Regenesys are mapped to this 6 graduate attributes: think differently, lead consciously, harnessing diversity, comporting yourself professionally, global outlook, and ground decisions in evidence. And in digital Regenesys, we offer 2 types of program. We offer introductory, which is like a basic know-how, and advanced courses as well. We offer data science, artificial intelligence, project management, cybersecurity, digital marketing, full stack development, data and business analytics, design thinking, product management, management advancement program, apart from a super program called ESG leadership program. Let me quickly introduce myself. I'm Dr. Shilpa Kulkarni. I have 20 plus years of experience in project management, human capital management. I've been a consultant to various sectors and industries for environment, economics as well. I've done PhD in organizational sustainability and organizational culture amalgamation. And I'm certified GRI auditor for GRI sustainability standards. So this is my quick background and why I'm so passionate about this particular course. Okay, here is a question for each one of you, and I would love to hear from all of you. What makes the organization good to great? Can I have at least a couple of answers so that we can set the ball rolling today? Can I get few answers from all of you? What is your idea? How does organization turn from good organization to great organization? Can I have few answers here, please? I request. This will help us to discuss something more meaningful, more enhancement-wise. So yes, great. Corporate culture, superb. Good culture fit. Excellent, excellent. Social impact. Wow, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Conducive working environments, work-life balance, excellent. Sustainability, teamwork, superb, superb. Holistic, good relationship. Okay, cognizant of EQ leadership, superb, superb. Thank you so much. We also talk about sustainability here. Yet again, good communication, good leadership, good leadership. Okay, okay. Ethical and good corporate governance, very true. People-centered organization, shared value, uh, culture of discipline, and good leadership. Opens communication, lack of bottlenecks, tone at the top. Yeah, superb, superb. And I really appreciate all of you for adding your idea how organizations can turn from good to great. And most of you talk about leadership, you talk about culture, you talk about ethics, you talk about governance, social impact. You also look at sustainability. So thank you so much. The recent study, which was conducted by Harvard to figure out what makes companies good to great, they realized that companies which have bent towards social and environment side have long-lasting impacts, and they have the innate ability to turn good things to a greater things because they're able to maneuver the risk, maneuver the risk which are coming from social angle, maneuver the risk which are coming from environment angle, and thereby putting governance in the right place. So even if the leader who began things was superb and great, he in his lifetime he can make the company great. But to keep the company at that great level for sustainable time, there has to be a value-driven approach, and this value-driven approach has to have all the three components of ESG in place. And when we look at this idea of having all the components of ESG in place, we look at something which is called as sustainable growth, right? We can have a company, we can have an organization which has turned into a great, but how I'm going to sustain that growth speed, how I'm going to be there for longer time. There was a very beautiful sentence which was none other by Dr. Prahlad, C.K. Prahlad, and what he said was, companies do not die. Companies do not die. Organizations do not die because they're separate entity from the founders. So what stays on is the legacy, what the leader has conveyed. It's the legacy, what has imbibed into the values. So finally, when organizations turn into value-driven organizations, obviously, they attained sustainable growth. So I would like you to, look at any organization or the organization where you are working or organization which you are going to found or organization which you have in your mind to turn it into a great organization. We should look at sustainable growth. It should not be the growth which is dependent because of certain economic criteria, just like face masks, which was there, which was a kind of an industry in pandemic, which sustained only for 2 years, and now nobody really asks about face masks as they used to have in demand in times of pandemic. So we should look at sustainable growth. So the first and the foremost important thing what we should look at is, what do you mean by sustainable growth? Is it the growth only in terms of profits? Is it what I call it as a sustainable growth? Is it in terms of only environment friendly issues? Is it what I'm going to look at as a sustainable growth? Am I going to look at the growth as a way to make things better? So what is my idea of sustainable growth? So for an organization, one should have a clear-cut definition of what do you mean by sustainable growth, right? So it might be profits, but not in terms of currency, but in terms of impacts. Can I look at something much, much bigger and wider? And I can also look at the impacts in terms of people and impacts in terms of planet. So this is where we look at profits in terms of impacts, that is profit, people, and planet. So we look at this 3P or three pillars of sustainability when we look at sustainable growth per se. So we also look at economic growth as a second aspect. And economic growth is always coming through human activities, and that is actually people driven. And all of us accept that, right? Economic growth is always people-driven growth. It is not natural growth. It is a people-driven growth, which is also needed to be taken into account. Your social progress makes your organization stand longer and stand deeper. What I mean by stand deeper, that if you're going to care for your community, if you're going to care for your people who are working for you, your people and your community will stand beside you when you are in trouble. So we need that social progress as well, where people start believing in your organization. We also look at environmental stewardship and benefits of how I'm going to use this sustainable growth to sustain for the overall things, right? I hope this part is pretty clear with everyone, right? Any questions, any doubt in this? Any questions? All of you agree that any sustainable growth has to have with basic 3 approach, right? Profits, people, and planet. If you're not going to look at any of this and you're just going to zone inside in your balance sheet, you are creating a recipe for failure. And that's what we really don't want. We would like to have a complete sustainable growth which will stand test of time. So let's quickly go ahead and see what exactly we should do to get there. Okay, and here we go. So in other words, in order to make things more measurable, as what they say, some things what you can measure, you can improvise. Things which you cannot measure, you cannot improvise. So instead of calling it as 3P approach, we have used something which is easy to measure and easy to improvise, and those are environment, social, and governance. Now let's quickly connect all these P's together. All of you are quite easy to understand. Environment and planet are connected. Social and profits are connected. Can someone tell me why profit and governance is connected? Can someone tell me here, do you think there is connection between profits and governance? Anyone? Anyone? Is there any connection between profits and governance? And as I say, this is, wow, thank you so much. Regulation, great. So when we look at ethical profits, you just can't show your balance sheet swooning up with numbers, but it has to be ethical. It has to come from right ways, right practices. And there should not be any way for corruption there, right? Should not be any way of any ambiguity. There has to be complete transparency and accountability from where you have got this much of amount. And that's where the governance comes in picture. And that's how these 3Ps are now getting into a measurable bracket, as what we say, some things which you can measure, you can improvise. And now we have ESG as your base. Now let's quickly go ahead and dive a little bit deeper to understand a little bit more. Okay, so here we go. So if I really look into detail, what exactly this ESG is all about. So I'm going to start with GSE rather than ESG because E and S, all of us have been studying right from school. What becomes a question is with the governance. So when we look at the business practices, how we actually look at our business, how we actually look at compliances, how we look at our board, what kind of a board independence do we have? What kind of executive compensation policies do we have? Is there any stakeholder democracy? And how you are going to control this corruption and bribery? All this becomes a part of governance. And trust me, this one area is one of the most powerful area because getting the data to prove that you have good governance needs a lot of courage to open all your book of records and show to everyone, hey, I'm absolutely clean, right? And that's where the governance comes in picture. All of you accept? Opening the account books, opening the meeting books, telling them, okay, things are extremely transparent. Auditors, you can have a look at it. It requires courage, even as a businessman. And that's where the governance comes, quite preceding to anything else. The next thing, which is very, very important for the businesses, is social. We talk about equal opportunities, we talk about freedom of association, health and safety, human rights, customer product and the responsibility, child labor. All this comes under social. And for environment, it's very bit obvious. We look at climate change, how much we are able to save the planet Earth, how we are going to save biodiversity, how we will be water efficient, energy efficient, carbon positive or neutral for that matter. And we can also look at environmental management system. So when we see all this, when we look at all this, we try to understand how things will be actually measured in all these three buckets. Okay, here is a question for all of you, and this question is quite simple. How many of you feel that this ESG is actually coming because of the external stimulus, not because of the internal stimulus? And as I say, there are no wrong answers. There are no wrong answers. Just would like to know your perspective. Is it external stimulus? That means there is someone from the regulatory side expecting you to do that, or because companies have really understood the ESG and they are doing it. Which kind of a stimulus is this? Can someone help me here? Please feel free to add your answers here. I'll be waiting for your answers. Both. Great, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. The reason why I call it as external more, though it has to be internal, it goes to external. I compare it with our own health. Unless and until we go to a medical practitioner and get our lab test report done, we really don't care much about the health in our earlier days of life. As the medical reports start saying us eat healthy, stay healthy, we don't push, most of us, I'm not saying everyone, it's a generic statement. Most of us do not push ourselves and go to that the fittest of you phase. Something similar happens even to the organizations, right? So as of today, most of the organizations are following it because there is a regulatory environment is pushing them to go for ESG disclosures. And especially for conglomerates, it's the investors who are demanding them to be sustainable, demanding them to be clean in terms of environment, social, and obviously the governance part. And when we look at this, this is something which is actually the root cause why regulatory requirements are pushing us to clean up your own problem kind of attitude for all the organizations. As we look at the same thing from a little bit deeper angle, we should know why we are looking at ESG. Why all of a sudden this ESG has taken center place and it has turned most of the things upside down. So what is that key thing which has turned things differently? So let's dive in deep and understand why ESG. First and foremost is investment imperative. Let me tell you the crux of the problem, at least in case of investments. See, risk is something which is very closely associated with investments. So if I'm investing something, I'm going to take some risk. right? And I will also ensure that there is a great ratio of risk versus reward. Correct? All of you agree? Whenever we invest, we look at risk versus reward ratio. As an investor, I would also look at what kind of risk this organization is actually going to take. Now, how does ESG is very closely linked with risk? Let me give you example of E, S, and G one by one. Supposedly, your organization is not very keen on environmental aspect. Slowly and steadily, uh, the environmental aspect is not getting reported right in time. Rather, most of the time, the environmental side is not really looked in. So what will happen if you're going to pollute rivers, if you're going to pollute air? Finally, it will impact people who are actually going to come and work at your place. Your community will start blaming you for that. And there will be a big impact on your business because of these issues which are arising from environment side. You might even face a penalty from your government for polluting your environment. And that might cause a dent in your business. So that's the reason one aspect is E for environment and very closely related with the risk. The second S for social, and if you look at the kind of mesh you have, the kind of understanding what you have in case of social. Are you taking care of your employees very well? Are you taking care of the community around you? Are you helping people who are working for you in the right manner? So not just having employee engagement, but really caring for a deeper connect. Are you looking at work-life balance? Are you looking at their holistic development? And that's what matters most, because if you're not going to take care of them, one fine day they will find a better place and they'll leave you. And who is going to work in your organization in that case? So S for social is a sleeping giant. If you're going to wake it up, it will destroy everything. So you need to take care of this social very, very closely. And if my organization is having superb hands to work, I can take better challenges. I can take better projects to complete. This will add up to my revenue, and that will certainly going to help me. Now let's look at G for governance and one of the keys. Who will like to invest in a company where fraudsters and corruption is actually taking place? There is no transparency at all. I would not like to invest in a company where I'm not sure where exactly my money is going. There is a one recent case happened. I may not name the country, neither the organization here, but this gentleman who started with an EV company, he took all money from the market and built a hotel somewhere else and built a very big resort somewhere else using investors' money. So what happened? Investors' money got doomed. This guy went to jail. And finally, this G factor was overlooked. So this is so much important from investment parameter that investment are safe when your ESG is right. The second thing, which is very, very important, is reputation and resilience. Both are very closely connected with ESG. I don't know if you have seen, there is a wave of organic food across the globe. All of you accept? There is a wave of organic food across the globe. People are ready to pay a bit more for organic food, right? People feel that if I'm going to eat organic food, I will be far off better. In such cases, we look at the reputation, which is built on because you're not going to use any chemicals and you're going to grow that crop naturally. Your reputation actually makes you go for that high price mark because you have achieved it because of your ESG practices. And now how your resilience. Till certain extent, investors can help you. But you've seen in times of pandemic, there are people who actually kept the company going. They were taking half-cut pays, they were taking They were working from remote areas. They were ready to let go few of their compensatory offs and still work ahead. It was that social power which made the companies resilient. So why not to follow something which is going to make you last for a longer time? And that's the reason let's go for ESG. And as I've already discussed about why it is important, because it is sustainable growth, and that's what we would like to see as a business, right? So I really appreciate, there are two comments, and I would like to put that to everyone's ear. One is work-life balance in existence really? Controversial, I accept, but companies should try and get there. It's the ideal state, right? And leadership, lack of commitment, transparency, accountability, and honesty, and you are actually putting a very bullseye to uh, governance problem. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because this is where the actual governance comes in place. This is where all our standards comes in place. And yes, so I completely accept what you're saying. But end of the day, if you're going to put it on papers, end of the day, if you're going to put it on papers somewhere down the line, we'll have a better clarity as we go ahead, right? Yes. Now, work-life integration, true. I accept that as well. But we are going to see that as we go ahead. We are going to take up a case study, okay? So before I jump to the case study, let me just check how much time do I have. I have about 30 minutes. So here is something which I would like you to put your mind right now. If I really would like to improvise something, I should put some measurable metrics to it, right? How I'm going to measure leadership, how I'm going to measure work-life integration, how I'm going to measure uh, the practices in the organization. Is there any way by which I can measure it? And can this be a standalone document altogether? And that's where these reporting structures and reporting ways of reporting comes in place. This reporting structure is the answer for not following the rules, not following what is required to be done, not having work-life balance. You have leadership issues. All these things actually matter when you start putting this reporting frameworks or reporting standards in place. So let me quickly tell you what is the difference between reporting framework and a reporting standards. But even before I talk about framework and standards, can I get to know how many of you are familiar with ISO standards? If you are, please just type yes in the chat box. That will help me. If you're familiar with ISO standards, even if you're not, gone through it, at least you're aware. ISO standards, quality ISO standards, ISO 9000, maybe 14001, or whichever ISO standard you must have thought of. Great. So let me quickly tell you what is the difference between a framework and a standard. Now, what happens in case of sustainability, and when you're talking about so many ways to look at a simple organization which is making a difference to the world today. So you might have your own different practices. You might have your own ways. I'll come back to your question, Brian, at the end of my session. So what happens, each industry is different and each industry's impact is very different. For example, in mining, you cannot say, hey, don't mine, because that's the only job they're supposed to do. They are supposed to pull out minerals from earth. So you can't say that, oh, you're doing a wrong thing, please stop mining. You can't do it. So you cannot apply the same yardstick of mining and IT at the same time. So one needs to have what are the principles and the guidelines based on which you are going to report, right? So this frameworks helps you to understand what is the most relevant topic to the stakeholders. And uh, please remember, stakeholders includes community, stakeholders include vendors, stakeholders include your employees, stakeholders also include competitors to a certain extent. So how it is going to be relevant to your stakeholders and how you're going to structure your report. So reporting framework is flexible in terms of you're going to decide what you're going to report, and then you're going to report on those parameters. Nevertheless, GRI is a framework, but now they have also got a basic framework which you cannot tap around. So that is where we look at reporting frameworks. Now we look at reporting standards. Now, standards means standardized practices which you cannot simply toy around. You must have heard of ESRS, which is coming from CSRD, or you must have heard of IFRS, which is International Financial Reporting Standards. So what they do, they give you a specific set of things and you have to report whether you are following that or whether you are not following a particular standard. If you are not following the particular standard, then you have to give the reasoning why you're not following. In this way, in the reporting standard, all companies are brought onto the same level, and then you can compare between two companies. And as of now, at least in African continent, ESRS or CSRD is most popular, apart from GRI. Am I clear there? Am I clear there? Any questions here for this? Any questions here? So, okay, not so clear. So, frameworks are for flexibility of reporting. You will report what is really important to you. And standard is immaterialistic to whichever organization you belong to. But if you're going to adapt to that standard, you have to report everything which is given to your standards. Okay? I hope that's clear now, Zulu. So now let's have a quick comparative analysis between few of the reporting structures. We are not going to dive in deep today for reporting because it's too early for us to understand reporting in detail. And the course is designed to make you understand what kind of reporting you should actually take. But the first framework, which is most popular is GRI because it's the lowest hanging fruit. You can decide what you want to report, and then you can create your own sustainability report, get it vetoed from a third party, and go ahead. So it's a very, very comprehensive sustainability reporting, and it's very widely used, very widely accepted. I have been using Safaricom and Dangote Cements. Dangote Cements sustainability reports for my case study presentations in the course for quite some time. And I really enjoy both of them, one from Kenya, another from Nigeria, and I really love both of them. The second one is from SASB. Now what has happened, TCFD and SASB have combined their reports together and they have created something called ISSB. But that's the longer story. I would like you to look at sector-specific things. So if I'm looking for mining sector, if I'm looking for construction sector, if I'm looking for manufacturing sector, I will go for SASB. And SASB will let me know whether I should look at this particular company to go ahead and see whether it is going to give me good returns in the longer way. TCFD, on the other hand, it is more towards carbon footprinting, carbon finance, So this particular TCFD reports actually used to tell us more on environment side. So SSB more on finance side, TCFD more on climate side. So what IR did, IR actually combined both. Combined TCFD and SASB together, and they created a holistic report called ISSB. And now this is one of the strongest reporting structures in SA in South Africa. And Johannesburg Stock Exchange actually mandates IR to be followed. Now that's the level of importance what we have for financial aspects as well as non-financial aspects if you are going to work in South Africa, right? So this is where we look at. Is it clear so far? Is it clear so far? Yeah? Can we go ahead? Now, since we are talking so much about the reporting structure, so much of things, most of you might be thinking, oh, this is all, just a greenwash. How many of you have heard this word called greenwash? How many of you have heard this word called greenwash? And that's the reason the background I have put it as greenwash. You must have, right? Now, greenwash is something which looks so lucrative on the paper, but nothing goes on to the ground. You say that we have saved so many tons of uh, carbon going into the atmosphere, and we really do not get that because unless and until we are able to see how it is really happening, it is very difficult. The biggest challenge of ESG framework is greenwash. Okay, that everything goes on paper, nothing on land, and that's what we need to stop. And that's the reason very stringent formats have come up, very stringent activities have come up if you are going to follow any of the framework. Now, can you see a sample report from any of the framework? Yes, you can. For that, I would request all of you to join the course because in 1 hour we really cannot give enough importance to a report and dissect it page by page. We do that, and we do have a capstone project based on that to compare and contrast. But for that, the time is too short. We cannot capsulize the entire knowledge. I hope you can accept that, Prosper, but thanks for your question. So which report you can see from yourself? You can actually download any GRI report from either Safaricom or Dalgode, and any of this, they have GRI sustainability reports, and you can download and you can look at those. They're very beautifully written, and you will also get the impact what they're making in today's world, right? So here we go. I have a very nice story to tell to all of you, which you are going to. GRI means Global Reporting Initiative. Okay, I'll just take you back where I've put the symbol, and that's the reason I didn't added it. Here it says Global Reporting Initiative, which was considered as an NGO long ago, before 18 years before from today, and they have formulated the first principles how you're going to go ahead for sustainability reporting. So this was a non-profit organization which started taking very right steps towards sustainability reporting. So it's a very, very popular one. And they also have come up with sector standards and stuff like that. So you will actually enjoy a lot if you're going to look into this. So I hope I've answered your query. I hope I've answered your query, Faith. Right? Now, okay. All of you must be aware about a company called Patagonia. If you are not, today's the time I would introduce you to a fantastic firm from USA. Now, why from USA? Because this was a case study available for free and I can use it for a webinar. But there are so many case studies from Africa as well, which I cannot use it for webinar because those are the discussion case studies. But the case study which I'm talking right now is something which is happening currently. You must have heard of something called as FAST, fast fashion, which creates most of the waste. Most things actually go into a dustbin, and that's the industry which creates clothes. Can you name two, at least two, fast fashion brands? And trust me, all of you must be uh, aware of this. Wow, thank you so much. What I've got, Shane Temu. Temu is still okay. Can I have one more big name in fast fashion? Thanks so much, Bua, for Pull and Beer. Great. Thank you. Thank you. One more name. One more name. Can I get one more name for fast fashion? Shein, Temu, Gucci. Okay. Amazon. Amazon is not a fashion label yet. I'm talking about garments. I'm talking about garments. Coste. Okay. Think of the labels. Think of the labels and wow. Thank you for adding Gucci, Levi's, and H&M. Thanks a lot. And very big bull called Zara. Thank you so much for adding Chanel and Lacoste, Louis Vuitton as well. Superb, superb, guys. Thank you so much. I cannot be more delighted than this because whatever the brands I thought of, you have actually pulled everyone out. Great, great. So we are aligned. We are aligned. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, why I have put this case today? Because, oh my God, Dolce & Gabbana as well. Truly, Kevin Klein, correct. All the fashion labels which are actually minting so much of money. There is one company which try to, uh, stand out. And this company is called as Patagonia. And the way they have advertised is don't buy this jacket. Okay. They really believe that let's not go for clothes unnecessarily. We are not going to promote buying clothes. And that's the difference which the founder had in mind. Patagonia's founder was Avid Traker. He was a mountaineering guy. He used to go for trekking, used to climb mountains, and he was very connected with the nature. And he decided to stop this nuisance of fast fashion by introducing a brand which is going to be there for longer time. So whatever product you buy, it will be there for a longer time. Instead of introducing fast fashion, he introduced slow fashion, which was a completely different segment in cutthroat competitions from fast fashion players like Zara, H&M, Gucci, and all those who are named right now. So this guy who decided to let's turn this around. So what happened? He earlier, before he started investing in fashion statement, he tried to look at climbing equipment. So before Patagonia was formed, if you can see mountains in his logo, right? So he's a heart with whose heart lies with mountains. So he said that if I have to save my mountains, my nature around me, I should look at a emphasizement on the comfort, and I should give a lot of attention to environment. So what he did was really phenomenal. What he did, he looked at fashion trends and he actually started manufacturing those fast fashion kind of clothes. But he said that This entire industry is working on 2 to 3 weeks time. My clothes, whenever I'm going to manufacture, will be there in the stores for at least 6 to 8 months. Now imagine where Zara says every 2 weeks my entire wardrobe is going to change. There is a guy who says the wardrobe or the display will not change every 2 weeks, but the display will be same at least for 6 to 8 months. And that's where the entire game of shifting towards sustainability began. Earlier, people used to make him, feel that, oh, he's not following the actual business. He doesn't understand how fashion industry works. People made fun of him, but he stuck to his own vision. He stuck to his own heart and said that, oh, this is the gut feeling which I have. This will surely work. And as of today, Patagonia is a brand where people look forward as a quality material. He also have high-priced items, but he gives free repairing for lifelong. Just imagine you have a high-priced jacket with you and there is a problem with the chain. You can just go to any of the Patagonia flagship stores and get it fixed. You don't have to repair it. You don't have to repurchase it. You just have to repair it and wear again. So he created a big value chain at the back. So what happened when he created a big value chain? His entire value proposition was so superb that he looked at sustainable outdoor apparel. He said that if you're wearing a Patagonia shirt or if you're wearing a Patagonia jacket, that shows how close you are with nature. Now tell me, everyone would like to flaunt that, right? Even if you plant one tree in an entire 1 year, we keep it on our walls, saying that, oh, I have planted a tree this year. Just imagine you are wearing a Patagonia shirt and that says that you're close to nature. It's quite easy. So he put that in minds of younger people, saying activism and advocacy. He created this as a lifestyle brand and a lifetime warranty. So people started staying loyal with him. Okay. And that's where the entire game began. As what I say normally, ESG brings you profit. Only thing what you need to remember is you need to have patience and faith in your own value system. Patagonia revenue started coming in because of highly durable clothing. People started getting Patagonia brands because they were durable, not because you want to throw them away. And then we looked at advertisement and the marketing because people would like to collaborate with Patagonia because that was a brand everybody loved. So yes, they started making, can you believe somebody's paying you for advertisement? Oh my God, people spend for advertisement. Patagonia gains from advertisement. They have got B Corp certifications and they actually created a lot of merchandise by giving away Patagonia things. So this was one of a kind of a company which actually turned the fashion industry upside down and said that enough of 2 weeks fashion. Okay, so this is where you can actually look into and understand what one single person's vision can change. And today, Patagonia has got so many stores across US. They're also coming to Canada, UK, and soon to all other parts of the world. And when I was reading this case study, I felt like, at least in African continent and in Indian context, our ancestors, we were like this only. We have been using clothes like your elder son might be wearing the same clothes, and the same thing will legacy will pass down to the youngest one. We used to reuse, reduce, and recycle so much because we were so close to nature. It's just repackaging, isn't it? Yeah. All of you accept this, that our ancestors were quite close to nature and we used to do this much, much better way than just this westernized concept. So When you start reading and learning about ESG, you will feel that the journey within will start. You will understand most of the things which our grannies or granddads used to tell us, right? And the way we used to say thank you to nature every time, those practices were so grounded that now we will be able to make more sense in business cases because we are by DNA very close to nature, very close to nature, right? So this is where the case study ends for me for today. I hope you have liked the case study because in this 1 hour time, you can just pick up the most happening case, which is most relevant, which has made a difference, and hence Patagonia. So during the course, we cover about 20, 25 different cases and examples because those are extremely relevant to that particular area. And as we go ahead, let me tell you, Patagonia is one of the most liked brand after Unilever. People have given lots of merit to the efforts which were taken by Patagonia's founder. And they have also made it a point that this entire journey is well marked. So if you want to follow Patagonia's journey, all you need to go do is to go to their website, find out their videos. You can actually see how you can also join them in that journey of reduce, reuse, recycle. So here we come to the most interesting slide for today. So what happens if you learn ESG? If you would like to complete a course in ESG, where are your future aspects will lie in terms of career? So when we looked at careers, the first career which comes in anybody's mind is sustainability officer or sustainability manager. Now, this person has the entire hold of how sustainability can be imbibed in the strategies of the organization. So there are organizations who have also positions like head of sustainability, which is a strategic position, whereas sustainability officers or managers are the positions where you're supposed to actually put the strategies in practice. The second position is ESG analyst. You should be able to understand and measure the ESG impacts and should be able to suggest any kind of risks which are arising from these. So when you are looking at ESG analyst, you need to look at the data which is coming from ESG pointers, and you should be able to analyze it so well so that you are able to point out if any risk which are coming up, in case of social, environment, or governance. Uh, Apart from this, we can also look at something more deeper, that is governance and compliance specifications. So what has happened today, as we were discussing in the initial stage of our webinar, that it is an external stimulus. Uh, there are organizations which are conglomerates who are pushing medium scale and small scale vendors to go for GRI or sustainability reporting. In that case, you should be very careful what you're reporting. And this governance and compliance specialist job actually helps you to put forth what exactly you are going to report, how you are going to report, and how you are going to make way out of it. The next thing, which is sustainable finance professional, as we were talking about investment imperatives, how I am going to invest. So there are so many wealth management jobs today. One of such job is sustainable finance professional, where this professional tells investors as well as big corporations to park their money in the right options. So you are able to understand government bonds, green bonds especially. You can look at the green loan concepts which are coming up, and you are able to look at that range quite well. Um, Then we can look at ESG reporting and compliance. Now, this is something where we look at as a consultant role, or you can think of companies which are consulting like PwC or KPMG. They have consulting where they have this job as ESG reporting and compliance specialist, where you help other organizations to actually walk the path of GRI reporting or TCFD reporting. The next type of uh, job, which is impact investment analyst, where you are able to look at how, what are the impact, especially in case of carbon footprinting for that matter, and how you are able to convert those carbon footprints into a better way, how you are able to get some investment through that. Sometimes even the carbon financing becomes a part of impact investment analyst, and offshooting of carbon as well. Carbon offset is itself is a big part of environmental strategies, and that can be taken care in impact investment analyst role. The most coveted role in which everybody comes into that zone whenever we talk about ESG is CSR. So there are roles as CSR and strategists. So you actually devise the strategies. I don't know how many of you will agree this, but CSR is the biggest branding tool today. How many of you accept this? CSR is the biggest branding tool today. How many of you accept this? If you accept, please say yes. This will help me to understand how many of you are really with me till now. CSR, right? So when you look at this as a branding tool, it becomes more important that you have a specific strategy towards deployment of CSR to choose the kind of impacts which you would like to make. Yes, community social responsibility, no, corporate social responsibility. Okay, called corporate social responsibility. That's what I meant for CSR. So as in corporate, what is my social responsibility I have? So sometimes I will invest in education. Sometimes I invest in healthcare. Sometimes I will make roads and infrastructure for the community around me. So what kind of things which I should actually take up so my brand value increases multiple fold? And that's where the CSR strategists work. CSR officer is the one who is actually going to deploy all these strategies and going to move ahead in the career as a strategist in the later part. So these are a few of the roles which you can look at when you're looking at ESG as career going ahead. And trust me, in the wake of AI, ESG is the one which is actually going to make the things different. Because even as of today, ESG cannot be considered as an AI-driven platform. You need to have things going physically so as to report, so as to comply. So you can't generate things out of AI and say this is AI generated ESG report. You cannot do that because you have to do things in order to report things. So there are so many reporting ways and the measures which we will be discussing in the course as we go ahead. So let me quickly tell you about the course as well. So that's the last slide which I have for today. So this is a program which is for about 2.5 months. I consider half months because of capstone project. We have these modules. You will get a detailed brochure from the sales team if you drop an email to them. I hope sales team is also there. If you can just help them to get a brochure, that will be great. So these are the modules which are covered. So we start from right from fundamentals. We talk about all the environmental factors in detail. We also talk about the measures. We also look at social responsibility, all the basic nuances of social responsibilities, right from laws, diversity, inclusion, stakeholder engagements, and stuff like that. We also dive in deep, talk about governance and compliance, risk assessment, scopes, the types of scope, carbon financing. Then we'll look at the strategy development and how I'm going to integrate my business and ESG together. Then we look at best practices, the leaderships and tool for ESG, how I can be the leader in ESG as we go forward, and followed by a very value-driven capstone project. I hope this comes to end of my webinar, and I'm happy that all of you stayed back 2 minutes extra. I've taken 2 minutes extra. Thank you for letting me take that. And that's for the day, my folks. Thank you so much for being so interactive participants for the webinar today. And I'm really happy that I could serve you something meaningful today. I hope so. So can I stop here? Can I stop here? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please do get in touch. Please do let us know if you are. The new batch is about to start on 28th of August. So if you're interested, please do get in touch with us. Thanks a lot. So shall we end the session or a webinar here? No questions, I hope. No questions? No questions, no clarifications? Okay, you got a certificate. Oh, okay. Thank you. You got a question. Please tell me. Matthew, please tell me. Brian had a question. Okay. Okay, so there are exams, there are quiz at the end of the session. At the end of the entire course, there is a quiz which you need to qualify, and that will help you to get the certificate. That's an MCQ-based quiz, and but has got very high percentage. So that's where we look at. So I would request any of the salesperson. The new intake is already going on. The new batch is about to start on 20th of August. And these are all online sessions. So you have weekly two sessions of 2 hours each. Are there any charges for the module? No, we don't have a modular approach. We have the entire course which you need to look at. The next batch is about to start. The enrollments are going on right now. So maybe from sales team, if someone can drop their email ID, that will be really great. Oh, right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So what we are currently doing is we are trying to look at the carbon footprint as of now. We are also looking at the employee well-being and the community practices, which we are measuring as of today. Since we are placed on online format and many geographies, we are yet to finalize which framework we should follow, but we are on the path of measuring the things as of now. So stay tuned. We will be soon giving you the detailed report. I hope I've answered. No, it's not a free course. It's not a free course. So can someone from sales team answer the queries regarding the email brochure cost as well? That will help. I can share the details. Just a moment. Just a second. Let me just share the details in terms of amount in the chat box. So that will be easy. Okay, there we go. This is total, these are 16 sessions, so about 2.5 months course, not more than that. I hope that will help. Sure, why don't all of you who would like to join this course, please drop in your email IDs in the chat box. So after this session, would you get a certificate? This is a webinar, more of informative. So it will be difficult to give you a certificate. Certificate is for the entire course. But maybe the sales team can clarify that if you are going to get a participatory certificate for the webinar. I'm not sure. So they will help you in that case, right? So this is for entire 2 months and 2 weeks course, which you will be enrolling. The enrollment is still going on. The first session is on 28th of August. So what I suggest, I just want all of you to drop in your email. So we will get in touch with you either via email or by a phone call and give you all the details regarding the cost, duration, certification, all other queries. Will that help? Will that help? Wow. If you already have a student counselor, great. That will help you a lot. And for all those who have, dropped either the email ID or the phone number, please do wait. We will definitely get in touch with you. Sneha, are you around? Sneha, are you around? Sneha, are you around? Great. Thank you. Thanks each one of you. I hope all of you have added your phone numbers. Can we get the notes of the presentation? If you have dropped an email, you'll get a confirmation on that. Do you have a branch in Kenya? Yes, we do have, but this course is online, strictly in a virtual mode. So definitely it will be better. Meanwhile, what I'm doing is I'm just sending you a quick glimpse of how much amount you're supposed to pay for Kenya. Okay, so this is the amount for Kenya. I could get that. So this is KES 7. This is for Kenya, okay? Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed the session for today. And can we stop now? Can we stop now? Any more to anyone else would like to add phone number and the email ID here? Anyone else would like to add phone number and email ID here? Someone has raised hand. I'm sorry, I could not see that earlier. That is Daniel, Suleiman, and Josley. So Daniel, would you mind unmuting and telling me your query? I'm so sorry, I could not see your hand before. I was able to see the chats. Daniel, you have raised your hand. Can you please unmute? Or you can put your query in the chat box. Okay, so we have cost of the ESG course and how long it takes. It takes, this is for Prosper. Prosper, it takes 2 months, 2 weeks. For each of the country, the costs are different. So just drop in your email ID in the webinar chat. We will get in touch with you. What level of organization ESG policies are important? Forming ESG policies are important right from the forming stage, if that's the question. recording of the webinar. I think I'm not the right person to answer that question, but do drop in. Thank you. Anything else? Anything else? So shall we stop our session now? Shall we stop our session now? Do you have sponsored classes? We can sponsor if your organization is going to sponsor it for you, but we do not give any free classes as of now. Oh my God, out of topic. It's like he's talking to us the way your hair moves. Oh my God, that's one of the best one I've ever got so far. Maybe because of the virtual background. You can have access to the material once you join this course, and that access will be for a year. And for all other discount and all other related queries, please do drop your email ID. That will help us. Our people will surely get in touch with you. Anything else, my dear friends? We will leave now, even me too. Thank you. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic day ahead. Bye-bye. Anyone from the team here, ops team here, can I leave the session now?
Yes.
Thank you.